What's going on, my fellow Farmall brothers and sisters? All right, so we're out here on the Cub. I was debating whether or not I was going to do a video on this, but I figured, what the hell. So I'm going to switch this camera around. Stay tuned, and let's jump into it. Okay, so what we're going to do is today, very simple video. We're just going to go ahead and break this torque tube loose from the transmission and pull this pan off for the floor pan where the pedals are. I've noticed that a lot of videos on these Cubs don't really show that part. As simple as that may seem, those pedals can be a real pain. So I figured, what the hell? It's all part of the process. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do the video on breaking this apart. Obviously, as you see, I moved all this into this shop because this one, it's heated. It's air conditioning. I got all my other tools in here. So I figured, let's just go ahead and make some space in here and let's start working back in the shop again. It's a little more well lit too, and I got more space. So I want to try and get this Cub done before we get any kind of snow on the ground, because I want to get the 300 row crop in here next. Because I want to start getting that thing in paint so I can actually use that a little bit in the midst of while I'm working on that 450 and the 300 utility. And the other 300 utility, the backhoe, I got it for a while. Okay, anyway, so back to the topic on hand. So I'm going to flip this camera around, and like I said, it's not going to be anything super crazy today. It's going to be actually fairly simple. I shouldn't have said those words. It shouldn't be too bad. Maybe I'll put it that way. They can be a pain getting this part. So let me flip this around. All right, so I still haven't had a chance to break this motor apart yet. I do have it over here, so I got to get this thing apart so I can get its parts out of there. So that way, the next video coming up is going to be getting this engine here back together and in running shape and ready to rock and roll. So, yeah, so here we are. So I went ahead and I broke the bolts loose around the case of the torque tube going in the transmission. So they're kind of loose already. Figured to give it a shot. Obviously, as you see, the pedal here is in a lot further because I've worked it in. Now I got to work it back out, but I'm going to wait to work it out once I get the pedals loose right there off of that rod. Now, the biggest problem of this whole job when it comes to removing these is getting these off. These right here freeze up really, really bad, especially that one. That's the one that has to come off so I can slide that pedal off and slide that whole shaft through and out. So what we're going to do is, to make this a little easier, I'm going to go ahead and break the pan loose from here so that way it's off the transmission. We're going to break these bolts loose here, here, and on the other side, and I'm going to separate this torque tube with this pan still attached so I can get this transmission and that shaft out of the way. Then I can go ahead and flip this upside down and start working on that next to get that apart. In theory, it sounds easy. In reality, it's a real pain in the ass. But anyway, it's definitely better shape. This setup here is in better shape than the one that came off this tractor. I went ahead and already pulled out the throwout bearing, and as you can see, the graphite, throwout bearing, the face and everything on it. It's got some chips on it, so I did order a steel one to put back in. But I did start taking that apart, and in order to get that throwout bearing out, all you gotta do is go ahead and pull that clevis out of there, and then you pull your two cotter keys here. Well, you don't have to pull both, you can just pull one, and then you slide that through, which is that shaft right there. And then you can get that right off of there. So we're going to again break this torque tube loose, pull this out, and that obviously will stay connected to the transmission. That's your input shaft. So I'm going to set this thing up in the stand. We're going to go ahead and get this broke loose first, get it apart, and then I'll move the stand over once I get this flipped, and then we'll start working on these bolts here. So let me get set up. All right, my friends, let the fun begin. Now hopefully you won't be looking at the backside of my arm the whole time. I'm going to see if I can try to do this without having my arm in the way. But I went ahead and broke these two loose first, and these are 1/2-inch bolts. So, easy enough, get those out. Put those off to the side so I can keep those with the pan. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to finish getting these out right here. These are 3/4. I think I got them loose enough that I could probably use my ratchet, but you're probably going to hear me slamming the table quite a bit. that. Alright, you know what? Let's maybe over there. Now you can actually see it instead of seeing my arm. First time breaking a little cubby loose like this, going this far, so not sure how long some of these nuts and bolts are on this thing. Now obviously if this tractor was on its tires, you know, you could lay under the tractor and you could probably get through these a little easier. But when it's disassembled on the table like this, trying to get vice grips or anything else in there to get those off without this being flipped over, it's a real hassle. So it's worth just checking those. Yep, same size. It's worth just go ahead and breaking this loose and just getting this thing out of the way. All right, let's move up here. Let's see if I can slide this up without messing everything up. Sometimes this thing must break loose, sometimes it doesn't. Okay. It's good enough. Tell you, a little light I got from Depot, a little Husky light. It takes the, well, I'll put the rechargeable batteries in there, but it takes 6 AAAs. It's a bright ass little light. I mean, this thing actually works very well for being such a little LED. This is the one I used when I was outside working on the trailer. It definitely helped. Alright, enough jibber jabbering. Let's go ahead and get the rest of this broke loose. Obviously everything on here needs to come apart still. I need to pull off the back PTO assembly so I can put all the new seals in. I got all the new axle seals for it. I'm going to replace all the seals in the back of this thing because I don't want to have to take it apart anytime soon again. Alright, so shorter ones on the top, longer ones on the bottom, so you can see right there. Alright, let's go over to this side now. One thing I do like about the Cubs though, that they're so light that you can just set them up on a table and get them up to your height to work on them. That makes it much nicer. You ain't doing this to the 450 or the 300 or the utilities transmissions and tubes. Yeah, that would crush this table. Surprisingly, these are coming out pretty nice. Kind of wish those pedal bolts would come out that nice. So I have a goal I'm shooting for. I had another magazine contact me about my Super A, and I told them, I'm like, you know what? I was like, yeah, I want to see it in another magazine. That'd be pretty cool. But it's been in 4 magazines now, which is really neat. But I think before I put it into another magazine, I think I want to have at least the Cub and the 300 together done first, so that I can put all 3 tractors kind of in the pages. So they kind of agreed. So I think they wanted to run my tractor, but I think they liked the idea of putting some other tractors in there with the article. So I'll keep everybody posted on what magazine that's going to be that all this is going to get into. But I think it should be pretty cool. It's always neat getting contacted by the companies and asked to put stuff in a magazine. It's definitely, again, I'd say humbling. You know, it's kind of nice to people actually want to put something in a magazine that you worked on. All right, let me put this over here so that way everybody can see me. Maybe doing something foolish when it comes to taking this apart and knock all my shit off the table. You know what I'm thinking? With that being said, I'm thinking I'm setting up my other table. I'm putting all my tools on my other table. Hang tight. I want to get all these off of here because I know I'm going to knock them all on the floor. Okay, so I think this is zoomed in. No, it's not zoomed in. All right, let me move this back to about here, and that way I can have a better view pulling this thing apart. All right, technicality. I'm gonna do this easy. This is cast, so you don't want to do a lot of beating on this, and then risk cracking it. So I'm just doing this just enough to break it loose. And looks like it's splitting right there. Perfect. Grab a smaller screwdriver for this, so we can get it started in there. Just like that. Okay, pretty easy for the most part, split one at least. And that's that. So now, it's just going to be supporting here. So I'm going to put another 2x4 into here to raise this up a little bit. And that way I can slide this out. Tool. Probably got them all. Alright, let's see if I can get this up here easy enough. Oh, not as easy as it looks. Yes, it's light. No, it's not that light. Let me get a bar to help my hand. Pushing this thing up. Like that. And I'm going to slip that right on that front edge. So hold that up. And now, we're just going to do that. So I'm thinking what I might do is leave this there. I'm going to slide the transmission off the table. Let's see which one's heavier. Oh shit, this ain't heavy at all. It is going to be an awkward balance here. Okay. No, not that bad. Alright, let's see. Make sure everybody saw everything. Yep, you saw that pretty easily. Okay. That's now out and out of the way. Alright, so now we can flip this puppy over. Taking some blocks under it. Like that. Like that. Now I can get to those a lot easier. Alright, well, let me show you guys now it's flipped over what we're fighting with next. Alright, so this one here, break that loose, then I can just slide all this assembly off of here, and then we can clean all this up. This one here is imperative to get off, because I got to get this pedal off so I can run this shaft right here all the way through to here and slide this whole unit out. So this is the one that we got to work on. Usually they break, and I have a feeling it's a good chance it's going to break. I think I might go ahead and use the oxygen acetylene torch, put some high heat to it, and see if I can get that to unscrew. This one here actually started to, I don't know if it's starting to turn, or I don't know if the head's starting to shear. It's one of the two starting to happen on there. Like I said, not sure exactly which one yet, so I'm going to go ahead and cross my fingers and hope I can get it off of there. So, alright, let's go ahead and raise the stand back up all the way. I almost flung the camera right out of the stand. Okay. Let's go get the torch. Okay, let's light her off. Obviously I'm not trying to melt it, so I'm not worried about turning up the oxygen anymore because I'm not trying to blow through it. I'm just trying to get it really warm. Nope, not yet. Hoping I don't have to break those welded on nuts off of there. If I get these out, then I'll have to re-weld those nuts back in. I hope I don't have to come to that. See what I can do here. See how warm are these? Not warm yet. Alright, let's do another push and pull. Uh-oh. Please tell me you're turning and not breaking off. Because it's moving. Just hope it's moving the way I want it to move. Like actually loosening up. Alright, tractor gods, shine down on me here. Make sure you're unscrewing because I'm seeing a bright light and I can't see it. Nope, sheared the head off. That's what I thought. Alright, well, I guess plan B. We're gonna have to get that damn nut out of there and see what we can do. Alright, hang tight, switching gears. Okay, so I'm gonna do the one trick that sometimes works. So, of course, this one over here, the jam nut, you know, obviously was loose. I was able to loosen up enough to get this thing to unscrew. So, of course, this one unscrews, but this one's the one you just saw snap off. So I went ahead, got the jam nut finally out because that finally came loose. Pulled that out, and now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to weld the center of this jam nut to that broken stud, and then we're going to try to use this now as the new bolt head to try to spin this out. I've never used this welder before. This is my backup welder. This is my just my flux core. So let's see if it actually works. Fire speed needs to come up some. Let's see if it works there. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of flux core. Let's turn this down a little bit and see what happens. Okay, I keep trying to close my eyes because obviously you don't want to look at the weld. So I'm going to see if I can get that to semi-hold. Get a little bit down here. Now hopefully between the heat and the weld, this might be enough to back this out. So let's find out. Sometimes the heat will help. I don't know if I got a good enough weld on here or not with this welder. Of course, I had my eyes closed, but I'm still kind of seeing spots. I don't think that got enough penetration. I don't really. I'm not a big fan of those welders, but I got it for almost nothing, so I figured give it a whirl. I'm just gonna go ahead and spin this and see if it spins out. Yeah, that's all it's doing. It's just spinning out. That's what I thought it was doing. It's cheap welding. She was worth a shot. Not very good welder. Alright, let's go ahead and I'm going to get my other welder and get that on there. Okay. So I went ahead and just got a bigger bolt and used the same welder. Welded it back in here again. So let's see if this one holds the way I just did this one. Come on, baby. Just break loose. All I need you to do. Now it's either shearing off or it's unscrewing. It's breaking off again. Alright. I think I've come to the conclusion that I hate flux core welders still. That's exactly why I didn't want one. Alright, I said it before. Now I'm going to get my other welder. Okay, so obviously I did a little bit here off camera. So, obviously these bolts, well, nuts or, yeah, everything here is the tapered spline or tapered shaft, which is meant to go inside, penetrate that rod inside there, keep it from spinning. Pretty much the same as they use on the front ends of like the Super A's and stuff like that. Same setup. Well, of course, since this one broke off and multiple attempts at that flux core welder trying to get in here, well, let's just say that it's surprisingly with this one here. This one, it actually worked, but it broke the bolt off more. So it actually penetrated and I was actually able to hold on to it, but it was so weak it sheared it off. So I had no choice but to drill that out. I did get it drilled out. And it seems like it did work. I went ahead and I held on to the shaft over here, locked it down to that wood, gave this thing a few taps back and forth, and it finally released from the shaft. Yes, you can see that. So now I have it to the point where I can tap it out. Almost. See, it moves. So I gotta hold it in place. And as you see, it's coming very slowly. I'm gonna grind the other side, it's a little easier. Even though I can barely hear now because my ears are ringing. So what I'm going to do, pull that to there. Vice grips are still holding, so actually I'm not going to move it. I'm going to keep going back and forth. So I hit that loose spot right there, and then tap it more. Same thing. Move it again. There we go. And she's out. Hallelujah. Now, I can work this out of here. Which means now I'm separated from the pan finally. No, this isn't threaded. I'm turning it because I got lots of penetrating fluid on here. So I'm utilizing that to help work this thing out of here. Alright, now I'm not sure, actually, this is where I'm in question. Do I need to pull that rod all the way out? I'm thinking so. But I'm going to see. Because it goes into that right there. So you know what? No, it looks like I can. Looks like I can pull that all the way through. Vice grips are coming off here. Lock these back on. The whole idea of putting vice grips on this stuff kills me. Sometimes you have no choice. I'm not sure if I can come out any further. That's where it's going to stop. Because it is a, I can bring you right now, I'll show you in a second. It is a, basically like a little clamp system with the rod that's actually in there that holds on to. Man, it's out pretty far. Get in about there. You know what I'll do is I'll clean this up a little bit and then I'll pull it through. It'll make it a little easier. But at least now, that can come off. All right, let me grab some tools here. Pick that pedal up off the floor. So the worst thing I gotta do to the pedal, actually it's not really that bad. Finish knocking the threads out of there from where I had to drill it out. And then I want to run a tap back through it and retap it. So actually, yeah, I'm not really sweating that. That is not that bad. This one here, this one's pretty tight. I feel like this one's gonna be a little bare too. But at least I can get this thing off and then work it from there. So I know this one, she was holding on. Let me see, just curiosity if it'll move now. Nope, she's still locking on there. No biggie. I'll get that worked off. This was the biggest one. And that pan, so that goes there. So I'm going to move this over to here with that stuff. Let's get this one out first. At least now at this point, I can start replacing seals, sandblasting, wire wheeling, priming. Start getting this thing ready for reassembly. First, I wasn't going to take this apart as far as the transmission, but looking through there, I noticed that the front seals on the tranny, there's a plate below and then the shaft seal above. They look a little bit around there. So it just seemed like, you know what, I think it's going to be best to go ahead and just pull that out of there. And just get the seals now and get it over with. Alright, there's the pedals. I don't want this obviously to roll and go hitting the floor. Sure, I think I can unbolt it from here. That'll undo the keeper. And then maybe that'll slide out from that point, because I don't feel anything else holding it in place. Okay, so this is actually the mechanism inside there holding on. Okay, got it. Understood. Let me grab a flashlight so I can make you understand what I'm understanding. Or at least what I think I'm understanding. All right, let me grab this. My hands are filthy. I'll wipe my hands off here before I grab the camera. Okay. So here's what that shaft there is going through, and that assembly right there, I think is what's inside right there. It's actually on this piece here, I think is where that shaft comes through. So I can technically, if I wanted to, I guess I could probably unbolt this clamp, release it, and I can get that rod out of here and then finish pulling that through, and that assembly right there should come off. So I think I might go ahead and do that. I'm going to try it out, unbolt it. Now the only thing I'm wondering is that thing keyed? Is that thing splined? How do I know it's going to go back into that same position? That's the only question that I have. Which brings me down to, do I want to pull it off or don't I want to pull it off? I mean, I do want to clean this whole entire housing out and clean all this crap. All right, let me see if I can get the shaft out of here after I clean that shaft, the end of that rod up a little bit right there. See if it'll pull through. If not, I don't know. Maybe I'll go ahead and unbolt it. All right, let me stop contemplating about it and just do it. So anyway, shit gets done, let's just jump in it. All right, let's set back up here. Okay. Grab some sandpaper here. A little penetrant fill on her, make it a little more slick. Alright, See if that'll wiggle out of there. Put the hammer there in case I need it. Coming out. That's all it took to clean that up. So obviously before we reassemble, I'll clean this whole shaft back up and get all this back in. Make everything work much better. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's really... Yeah, that's what it is. I can unbolt that. You know, I wasn't going to take it out, but curiosity got the best of me. I want to see how this whole thing works. So I want to go ahead and take this apart. All right, let's lower this thing down. Go about there. Straighten you guys out a little bit here. And let me get the light. Yeah, you can see enough to see what I'm doing. Now, give me my super duper long extension. I'd say that extension should be way long enough. Actually, I think this one's overkill. I should get my one that's a little shorter. Alright, so I can do this without you guys seeing my head as I'm trying to do it. And that, I figured that was a 9/16 from what it looked like. Alright, let me go find my other sockets. Alright, let's get back in there. Alright, so it's just bolted in one. Yeah, it's just clamped. It's not splined or anything. So I guess the important thing is to get that back the way it was. And that should come right on out, just like that. Oh, okay, it is. All right, so that makes me feel a little better. So it's just mooned out right there. So that way, when that goes on, and where the hell's the damn nut? And that goes on like this. Just so you can see, it just kind of goes into that groove right there, and that's what locks it in place from spinning on the shaft and centers it up. So not too bad getting all that apart. All right, this whole thing is ready to clean up, sand, and take care of. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the transmission up here on the table, get that torque tube off of there, and I think that's actually going to be it for today's video, because the next video now is going to be cleaning it up and resealing it. So I'm going to get this puppy off the table. The heaviest thing in the world, but let's just say she's got a little bit of weight to her. Not brutal, but not the best. There we go. Well, I'll sure make that easier. Clean that up now. And that was a lot of grease inside there. Alright, move the pedal over somewhere. No, so I'll put the pedal up here for now. So I know this ain't much fun. You know what, let me pause it and since you guys watching me clean up my table here. Okay, let's finish breaking these loose now. Kind of getting a little more excited now. Now it's getting almost time to start putting the thing back together. Like once I get past the cleanup phase here, it's actually smooth sailing from this point. The put together part isn't the bad part. Getting all these old bolts and shit out of there, that's the bad part. So now it's time to just put the seals in, clean her up, reassemble. I'm going to chase every single one of these nuts and bolts loose. Nuts and bolts, all these threads for the nuts and everything for the bolts to go in. I'm having brain fart, guys, today. Sorry about that. But anyway, I always like to chase all this stuff out so that way I know when it comes time to reassembly, everything goes together just as easy as it can be. And if you ever put attachments or anything else in there, you know your threads are nice and clean like they were from the factory, rather than having to fight everything, trying to get it in because your threads are all buggered up. Now it takes a minute to go ahead and tap everything out. Well, longer than a minute, but you know what I mean. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting this one done. Like I said, the Cub is definitely like a fun little tractor. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting it done. I can't say, for some reason, my whole heart still isn't into the Cub. I don't know why. I don't know, maybe it's because I haven't really ridden on one or driven one yet. Maybe that's why my whole heart isn't into this Cub yet. I'm more or less doing this just for snow pushing and for my daughter, because I know she wants the Cub in the worst way. So that's the real reason I'm doing this. Me personally, my 300, my 450, that's the ones I really want to get up and get moving, because I absolutely love my A. But you know, maybe it'll change my mind once I start using it and playing with it a little bit. You know, it definitely could. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the Cubs. You know, they're made cute little tractors. But can't really say that they were like my tractor. My 450 was that. Oh, that came loose easy. So yeah, this tractor here is more of just a fun little play tractor, and so me and my daughter can take a tractor ride, and she can actually ride her own rather than riding with me. And that's something she's looking forward to, and yeah, I'm glad I took that apart, because that axle seal there is done, buddy. Whew. Ooh, I'm gonna go dump this right in the trash real quick, actually, because there's a lot of oily shit inside here. Be right back. That stinks in there too. Good Lord. That shit smells awful, buddy. I gotta find some paper towels. I'm gonna set this thing on the floor. Give me a second. Okay, I'm back. Yeah, that was stinky and that was nasty. Between the old gear oil, the water, guess the mouse shit and everything inside there. That girl was stinking. Slide this unit out to the middle of the table. Alright, well, that gives us now something to work with. I don't want to pull this off yet today, because I'm going to get this oil out of here first before I crack that loose and get that all over the place. So I'm going to end up turning this thing upside down, cleaning it out. I do still got to pull this pin out of here and get this assembly off of here, since this right here I can't seem to get it past here like I could on the other one. So I'm just going to pull the whole arm off to do that. Other than that, yeah, guys, we're ready to rock and roll on this thing. She is getting down there. So let me get this oil off real fast before I lean into it. Let me clean my hands off. I'm going to take the camera off, go around to the front. I'll show you those seals I was telling you about. So besides the axle seals being so bad, yeah, the front seals weren't too pretty either. So that's what I was doing. I was putting that tube down there on a towel because it had a lot of crap in it. But this is what I was noticing was obviously it's really wet through here. So obviously, well, you can see right there, this seal right here was dripping, which was making all this wet inside here. So if I'm going to do that one, I might also do this one too. So That's the reason I wanted to get that whole tube off of there. Plus, too, I can clean the shaft up real nice. You know, get all this crap off of here, clean those splines up and everything. And then it'll make it easier for wire wheeling all this. I'll probably put it back together and then do the primer. And I'm probably going to prime all the parts as I go until I get it to a comfortable area where I'm happy with it. And then I'm going to go ahead and give this thing its overall paint job and start bolting it back together from there. But then we'll go ahead and we'll get this bolt pulled out of here. We'll replace the seals in here. We'll replace the seal here also. And then there's a bearing inside there also. I'll assess that and see how it looks. And then we're going to go ahead and pull out the pipe plug, tap all these, get that cork out of there, clean all this up, replace the PTO seal, and then the main seal around the whole thing, and put it back together. So anyway, well, that's it for the video today. So anybody has any questions or whatever, feel free to leave them in the comments. Hopefully I can answer them to the best of my knowledge for you. Other than that, as you can see, this girl is now in complete pieces. And there's the other engine right there. So yeah, it's going to be time to start getting this thing back together. So anyway, so make sure you guys like, subscribe, and share. Hit that notification bell for future notifications. Other than that, thank you for watching. You guys have a good day.